Frustrated by endless doctor visits, mounting prescriptions, and the slow creep of aches, fatigue, and medications that seem to pile up faster than birthday candles, you're not alone. And what if I told you that living past 100 without a single prescription isn't a miracle, a genetic fluke, or reserved for people in remote mountain villages? My grandmother lived to 107, sharp as a tack, walking without a cane, and never once taking a daily pill. Not one. No blood pressure meds, no cholesterol drugs, not even aspirin. And she didn't live in a lab or follow some extreme biohacker protocol. She lived in a small farmhouse, grew her own food, and followed 8 simple habits. Habits so ordinary, most people overlook them completely. But here's the twist: these aren't just healthy tips, they're time tested, daily rituals passed down through generations, refined by decades of real world living. Wait until you see what happened when my cousin, a 58-year-old with high blood pressure and prediabetes, copied just one of these habits for 30 days. His doctor told him his numbers looked like those of a 40-year-old. Don't skip ahead. The game-changing tip comes at 420. And if you've ever looked at your medicine cabinet and thought there has to be another way, comment yes, so I know you're with me. Now, before we dive into the habits, let's talk about the elephant in the room: modern aging. Most people assume that chronic illness, declining mobility, and medication dependence are just part of getting old. But here's the shocking truth. Studies from the blue zones, where people live longest, show that up to 75% of aging-related disease is lifestyle-driven, not inevitable. And yet, the average American over 65 takes nearly 5 prescription medications daily. 5. That's not health, that's damage control. My grandmother didn't fight aging with drugs. She prevented it with rhythm, routine, and quiet consistency. She never went to a gym, never owned a fitness tracker, and didn't even know what intermittent fasting was. But her life was the protocol. The real secret comes at 1:30. Her habits weren't about intensity, they were about timing. Everything she did followed a natural, almost invisible cadence that aligned with her body's internal clock. Most people miss step number 3. I'll explain why in just a moment. First, try this now. Think about your morning routine. Do you rush, check your phone, and dive into stress? My grandmother did the exact opposite, and that was habit number 1. Every single morning, without fail, she woke up 20 minutes before sunrise. Not because an alarm told her to, but because her body knew. She didn't check her phone, scroll through news, or jump into chores. Instead, she sat by her bedroom window, wrapped in a shawl, and watched the light rise. No music, no talking, just stillness. She called it letting the day settle into my bones. But here's what scientists now know: that quiet morning window primes the parasympathetic nervous system, lowers cortisol, and sets your circadian rhythm for optimal hormone balance all day. In fact, a 2023 study from the University of California found that seniors who spent just 10 minutes in pre-sunrise stillness had 32% lower inflammation markers and better sleep quality. But most people miss this step. They reach for their phone the second they open their eyes, flooding their brain with stress before their feet even hit the floor. Try this now. Tomorrow, wake up just 10 minutes earlier. Sit by a window, breathe slowly, and watch the sky change. No phone, no distractions. See what happens to your mood by noon. Comment stillness if you're giving it a try. The real secret comes at 3:10, what she did after those quiet minutes. Habit number 2, she drank a cup of warm water with lemon and a pinch of cayenne before her first bite of food. Not juice, not coffee, not tea, just warm water. And she sipped it slowly for 15 minutes while feeding the chickens. But here's the twist. It wasn't about detoxing or trendy cleanses. That small ritual jump-started her digestion, signaled her liver to activate, and gently raised her core temperature, critical for seniors whose metabolism slows with age. One 70-year-old man in Oregon copied this habit after struggling with bloating and sluggish mornings. Within a week, his bowel movements normalized, his energy improved, and he lost 4 pounds of stubborn belly bloat without changing anything else. If X happens like you hate cayenne, do Y instead. Use a slice of ginger or a pinch of turmeric. The key is warmth and gentle stimulation, not heat. Don't skip ahead. The next habit is the one her doctor couldn't believe actually worked. Habit number 3. She walked every single day within 90 minutes of waking. Not a power walk, not a mile on a treadmill, but a slow, mindful stroll through her garden, yard, or down the country road. Rain or shine, she moved her body early. But here's what's fascinating. She didn't count steps or wear shoes with arch support. She walked barefoot on grass, dirt, or gravel whenever possible. And that's where the magic happened. Grounding or earthing has been shown in clinical studies to reduce inflammation, improve circulation, and stabilize heart rate variability. One 74-year-old woman in Michigan started walking barefoot in her backyard for 20 minutes each morning. After 3 weeks, her chronic knee pain dropped from a 7 to a 2 on the pain scale, but most people do. Option A, jog on pavement with expensive sneakers. My grandmother did. Option B, slow, barefoot, earth connected movement. Try this now. After your warm water, step outside barefoot for just 10 minutes. Walk slowly. Feel the ground. Breathe deep. Notice how your body feels by evening. Save this guide. You'll want to remember this routine. Now, here's a retention spike. The real secret comes at 6:45. How her lunchtime habit quietly protected her heart and brain for decades. At exactly 12:30 p.m., she ate the same thing almost every day, a small bowl of lentil soup, a slice of sourdough, and a handful of raw walnuts. No meat, no processed food, no sugar. But here's the twist. She never ate lunch alone. Even in her 90s, she sat at the table with someone, family, a neighbor, even just a photo of a loved one. And that social ritual mattered more than we think. Harvard's long term aging study found that seniors who eat meals with others have a 40% lower risk of cognitive decline. Loneliness, it turns out, is as damaging as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. One 80-year-old man in Maine started inviting a different neighbor to share soup every Thursday. Within months, his memory improved, his blood pressure dropped, and he said, I feel like I have a reason to cook again. If X happens, like you live alone, do Y instead. Call a friend during lunch, eat facing a window with a view, or set the table like you're hosting someone. The act of intention matters. Habit number 5 might surprise you. She took a 20-minute nap every single afternoon, but only after eating her lunch and only between 1:30 and 2:30 p.m. Not 3 hours, not on the couch with the TV on, but a short, intentional rest in a dark, quiet room. But here's what most people get wrong. Napping too late or too long disrupts nighttime sleep. My grandmother's nap was precise, long enough to recharge her nervous system, short enough to avoid grogginess. A 2022 study from Japan found that seniors who took consistent afternoon naps had 28% better cognitive function and lower rates of heart disease. But most people either skip naps entirely or fall into a 3-hour coma after Thanksgiving dinner. Try this now. Set a 20-minute timer after lunch. Lie down, close your eyes, don't force sleep. Just rest. See how alert you feel by 4 p.m. Comment nap if you're testing this. Now, here's where things get unexpected. Habit number 6 wasn't about food, fitness, or supplements. It was about laughter. Every day, without fail, she found something to laugh about. A funny memory, a silly bird, a joke from the newspaper. She even kept a joke jar on her kitchen table, little notes with punchlines she'd collected over the years. But here's the science. Laughter reduces cortisol, boosts immune function, and increases blood flow like a mini cardio workout. One 76-year-old woman in Florida started watching 10 minutes of stand up comedy every afternoon. After 6 weeks, her chronic joint pain decreased, her sleep improved, and her doctor said her inflammation markers looked remarkably low. If X happens, like you're not in a laughing mood, do Y instead. Watch a pet, call a playful friend, or recall a happy memory. Emotion is a habit. You can train it. The real secret comes at 9:10. How her evening routine protected her sleep and kept her off sleeping pills. Habit number 7. She stopped all eating by 6:30 p.m., 3 hours before bed. No snacks, no late night tea with honey, no just one bite. And she didn't do it to lose weight. She did it because her mother told her, let your body repair while you sleep, not digest. But here's what modern research confirms. Eating late forces your liver and gut to work overnight, disrupting cellular repair and increasing inflammation. A study from the University of Utah found that seniors who stopped eating by 7 p.m. had 50% better deep sleep and lower insulin resistance. One 68-year-old man with acid reflux and insomnia tried this for 2 weeks. His nighttime heartburn vanished, and he slept through the night for the first time in a decade. If X happens, like you get hungry at night, do Y instead. Sip warm herbal tea, chamomile, or passion flower, practice 4-7-8 breathing, or eat a small protein rich snack earlier in the evening. Timing is everything. And now, the final habit, habit number 8, is the one that shocked her doctors the most. She went to bed at the same time every night without fail and woke up without an alarm, not because she had nothing to do, but because she respected her body's natural rhythm. She didn't binge TV, scroll her phone, or drink wine to unwind. Instead, she dimmed the lights, read a book by lamplight, and was asleep by 8:30 p.m. But here's the twist. She didn't struggle with sleep. She trusted it. And that trust came from decades of consistency. The real secret comes at 11:20. She never measured her sleep. No trackers, no apps, no obsession. She listened to her body. One 72-year-old woman in Colorado copied this habit after years of insomnia. She set a lights out alarm, read physical books, and banned screens after 7 p.m. In 10 days, her sleep efficiency improved by 63%. Try this now. Tonight, go to bed 30 minutes earlier than usual. Read, don't scroll, see how you feel tomorrow. Save this guide. You'll want to reference the full 8 habits. Let's troubleshoot. What if you can't do all 8 at once? That's okay. Start with one, just one. Pick the habit that feels easiest and master it for 21 days. My grandmother didn't wake up at 100 and decide to change her life. She built these habits one day at a time. If X happens, like you miss a day, do Y instead, just restart. No guilt, no pressure. Consistency beats perfection. One man in his 80s started with the morning warm water, then added the walk, then the nap. Within 6 months, he'd dropped 3 medications and said, I feel like I've been given a second life. Watch next. The one daily food that reversed my joint pain after 60. Doctors are stunned. For deeper insights, save this guide for the step-by-step breakdown. Subscribe for part 2, where I reveal the one forgotten herb my grandmother used every winter to stay cold-free, used in European monasteries for over 500 years.